All right, here we are again, and this is very exciting for me. Every month, when I come up to our VA anniversaries, and I get to sometimes, for the very first time, meet face to face VAs that have been working with us for 3 years, like Jai here. Jai, welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Kristy.
You're very welcome. So, we're going to learn a little bit about Jai, which is very exciting for me because, as the business has progressed for me, in the very early stages of the business nearly 10 years ago, I used to do all of the interviews and talk to our VAs one-on-one, and I don't do that anymore. So I don't get to actually communicate with you too much other than every now and then. So for me, this is a discovery of Jai as well. So what I'd love to know, so Jai's been with us, she's celebrating her 3rd year anniversary with us, which is just amazing. And we're so grateful to have you because you are our writing superstar, which we absolutely love what you do. But there's a more to you than just writing. So I'd like to know a little bit about who you are and, the sorts of things that you're currently doing with our clients at the moment.
Okay. Well, okay, my name is Jaiei. You've pronounced it correctly. There are a lot of vowels in my name. That's Jaiei, but we can do away with 75% of that. I am an audiophile. I like learning about new things by listening.
Love
So I'm always on some sort of headset. I love discovering new music and listening to podcasts. I listen to everything from ambient sounds to world music. Right now, on my playlist, on my Spotify playlist, I'm listening to the Brain Effects playlist on Spotify.
Wow.
For that, it's great for deep work and for productivity because I've read somewhere that to get your creative juices flowing, you should listen to ambient music. And it's not a lot of lyrics in the Brain Effects playlist, just really minimal. And it's generally what I listen to during work hours. I can link to it if you have show notes for
Please,
this
yeah, please do, because I've just written that down on my notepad to ensure that
yeah.
our listeners
All right. I'm getting to the clients in a bit. I'm also listening to podcasts like TED Talks, Daily Happier with Gretchen Rubin, because I read the book, The Happiness Project,
Yes.
The Intelligence by The Economist, and the Potential Psychology podcast by Ellen Jackson, who is a client of ours. She's been recently nominated last May for the 2019 Australian Podcast Awards in the Best New Podcast category. So we were
Fabulous.
fortunately we didn't win, but we were up against 60. The pool of the selection pool was 60 plus, and then they cut it down to 6 nominees.
Amazing.
There.
Amazing. We love Ellen. She is
Right.
great.
Me too. So I'm involved in getting our podcast up and running. That's why I can link to resources or books that we mention here for your show.
Fantastic. So talk more about the type of work that you're doing for our clients.
I usually handle, well, I'm the podcast manager for the Potential Psychology website. And then I do some blog writing work, and I set up the newsletters for her. But the more important part of it, the regular part of it, is she has guests every week. We're now just closing off season 4 and starting season 5 of the podcast. So we've had over almost 50 guests now.
Amazing.
Over 40 guests. And then I do the back end work, like support work for show notes, some of the text, and making sure it's pretty and organized.
I love it. Fantastic.
For other clients, I write copy for their web pages. The It ranges from health and wellness to just everyday like self-care tips.
Mm. Mm.
One more part of my job is to do layout for our friend Rebecca. She's in
Rebecca, yeah.
publishing. Okay.
Excellent. Oh my goodness, lots of stuff then. Fantastic. So tell me about your background then. Tell me about, what I'd like to know is, where do you live? You know, what do you live by yourself? Have you got family? Have you know, how does that, and what did you do? What did you graduate in? What did you learn when you were younger?
When I was younger, I was a science major from one of the, well, I would say this, I'm the best university here. So I graduated from the University of the Philippines. That's disputable, but I'm proud of it. I was a science major. I also took up, after my undergraduate studies, I took professional education. So I have a professional teaching background. I did that for a while before transitioning to home-based work. I just recently, well, I used to live alone, and then my brother came to live with me. We just recently moved to another house. It's in another city, different zip code. So my life has been mildly chaotic for the past few weeks.
So where do you live now? What's the province and what's the city you live in?
Still in Manila. I used to live right at the heart of the central business district of Makati. Now I'm in Pasig, where there's more food.
Okay. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, known to inspire food crawls and late night food markets. There's actually a whole neighborhood that's just full of mom and pop businesses, from restaurants to cafes. So I love living here so
Amazing. So it's quite, it gives you that outlet to actually get out of the house and go and do fun things. And how long have you been working from home?
I've been working from home for 6 years now. Most of it is part-time or just project-based deliverables, and then got to you, and now I'm my third year. I'm on my third year.
Celebration. And so what made you decide that working from home as a VA or being home-based was a good idea? Why did you decide that?
The technology mainly. We have to, take advantage of that. I was born in a generation where we had the privilege of witnessing the birth of the internet.
Yeah.
And then back then, everything was analog. Now we have automation and amazing tools that are online because technology has evolved. It's enabled us to work remotely and do this kind of thing, or work together from anywhere in the world, from across all time zones. What was once a 9-to-5 desk job can now be done completely online, outside the confines of an office cubicle and a Bundy clock.
Yeah.
Do they still use that? There's the gaggle of tools that can help you be more structured, more productive, and more efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a lot easier, isn't it? And I know in the Philippines, sometimes it can be very difficult to get your way around, to actually get to work or to find an environment that you're happy working
so
in.
much.
Yeah. And I love that Virtual Elves, here we provide that environment. We can do that. We can give that opportunity so that you don't need to hop in, a very crowded transport option.
True. Thank you very much. That's 2 hours to 3 hours of my life to save, because that's the amount of time you get stuck in traffic, or the time you're traveling from one place to another.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's fantastic. It's great. And so what what is it then that you love about, besides the traffic and not having to travel, what other things do you love about being home-based?
I like the
Yeah.
freedom to choose the work projects that resonate with me the most, and the freedom to dictate my own work hours.
Yeah. Freedom's a big thing, isn't it? You know, I find that as well. And that's why I run this business, is because it does give me a lot of freedom, and it does give me that opportunity. I mean, I still work from home. I don't have an office. I don't have staff here in Australia. You know, I just have my team in the Philippines, and I love the fact that I don't have to be anywhere, or I don't have to do, you know, travel
Right.
anywhere as well. So yeah, it's the same feeling, and it's nice to be able to, you know, pass that on, because that's my philosophy as well. You know, it's very important. So what do you like to do in your spare time other than eat and go?
uh, I like pets. I like animals. I have a cat and a dog, so I spend time with that. I have other hobbies. I think they're very important for mental health and self
I'm
care.
going to show you something.
All right, all right. I can hear a pet. Ha.
Ready?
Hi.
Say hello. This is
Hi.
our new puppy. He's our new puppy called Sable.
Sable. Hi, Sable.
Say
Hi,
hello.
Sable.
Say hi, Jay. Hi. Yeah, he can see. Yay. It's fun, isn't it?
How
You've
old
got
is
a
he?
cat and a dog. He's only 11 weeks old.
Oh, very, very
Very
young.
young. Literally only been in our house for 2 weeks.
I've a well, my Shih Tzu is already 9 years old. She's a senior dog, and my cat is just a kitten. She's 6 months old.
Tiny.
She's this big.
Oh,
She's monster cat already.
oh
She eats
wow. They're good, aren't they? They are very good for your mental health.
very, very good for my
Very
mental health.
good.
Because I used to live alone, so and I just have pets to talk to.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 kids. My kids are 12 and 14, and they've been asking for a dog for a very long time.
Oh, they're big now,
Yeah,
14.
they're big. So we decided that it was about time that we give them something to, you know, I think my husband and I were saying that you want them to have memories of growing up with a pet, and, you know, just
Very true.
so good for them. It's so good for them. So yeah, we're very happy that we've been able to, but he's lively. He's very lively, aren't you?
Yes, he's very young.
You're down. You are down.
So cute.
Yeah. So pets, you like hanging out with your pets, and you like
Yes.
eating, going to markets. What
Hmm.
else?
I play the guitar sometimes. I just broke the strings
No, no,
on
no.
two of the strings
You
yesterday.
and Cherry. Cherry plays the guitar as well.
All right. I didn't know
Very
that.
good. Yeah, yeah, she's very good. I think she actually, I don't know whether she teaches. No, she just plays, but she enjoys the guitar as well. So it's interesting when I hear what people like to do and what their hobbies are and the things. It's quite, you know, lots of people have very similar things. It's quite nice. Yeah. So, what do you see? What do you want for your future? What are the things that you're thinking of, you know, in the next 5 years that might drive you?
Um, Off the top of my head, I want to have my own published work.
Nice.
I already am a published writer, but the published work I have is co-written with two other writers. So my goal is to someday have one that's mine alone, just a solo writer.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's a
I
great
could
goal to have.
also link to that work in the show notes later.
Yes, please do. I think that's really exciting, and that's something nice to look forward to and a goal to have. Definitely. And So the writing obviously is a very big part of your life and what you do, and you get a lot of joy out of that. What would you, I guess what I want to understand is, what lessons have you learned about being a home-based worker that perhaps could help someone who's thinking about stepping into that now?
That everyone should try it once. Everyone should try to work from home at least once in their lives, because most of the people I talk to, they don't want to take the risk. They like having the security of corporate. This working for yourself takes a lot of discipline, since you have to direct and self-manage. But I think the sense of accomplishment you get from working for yourself, and the fulfillment that you see from seeing yourself as just not part of some cog in a bigger wheel, but an important part of the business. That's very hard to get in corporate.
Yeah, it is.
So
Yeah.
that's my advice to aspiring VAs is to just take the risk and try it. Just try everything once.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. I think, and you don't have anything to lose by trying that, or you could just, in your corporate job, you could just come home, of an evening and do some work, at night, just to see how it
right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to give up what you have. You don't need to, yeah, I think that's really important. And do you think, with that advice, do you think that it's easier now for people to start those home-based businesses and work for themselves?
Absolutely. It's easier now. We have the technology and the bandwidth to do
Yeah.
it.
But do you
Because
think it takes a special kind of person, a certain kind of person that can actually manage working from home? Discipline.
not personality wise, all types of personality can be a good fit, but it takes one skill. It's to self manage.
Yeah.
Because you can't just work from home and then sleep through, like, because there's the temptation of the fridge or the bed or the TV.
Yeah. Or the washing or
or
right.
chores and errands. So that particular skill is very important. But personality wise or character wise, fun or laid back, introverted, extroverted, anyone can fit in.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think it's definitely, for me, it's definitely a learned thing as well. I think, you can start, and you do need to have a certain kind of organization and, order
Right.
how
True.
you work to be able to, because you've got to be able to respond in a timely manner. You have to be able to, there's a lot of things, response and communicate well, and, all of those sorts of things. Because, over the last 10 years in my business, I've definitely seen some very good VAs and some very bad VAs, that don't know how to communicate. They just disappear off the face of the earth. They don't have any care factor. I think care factor is a big thing, and wanting to improve yourself. So if you're always wanting to excel, to,
I agree.
Exceed expectations, if you've got that customer service focus and that's important to you, then you'll do very well, I find.
Like, you have to be able to sincerely want to be able to help them grow their business.
Yeah. And I think if you do that, and you find the interest in that, and you see that you can be of help and you can actually provide that, benefit to the business, then it just keeps jumping and jumping and jumping up, because the level of what you're able to provide, and the wow factor and the appreciation that the client has of you being able to help them grow helps you grow,
Right.
Yeah, I think it's really important. So obviously you're going to be with us for another 3 years. That's without a doubt. Someone said to me the other day, Sherry, actually, who has been with us for, I think now 6 years.
Forever.
Yeah. She
Forever.
feels like forever. She said, oh, and I'll be with you for another 20 years. And I said, oh my goodness, will my business be going for another 20 years? I hope so. Another 20 years, I'm going to be quite old, but if it's still going and if it's still doing well for everybody, then I'll be happy.
All of us are old but happy.
Exactly. So what we've given advice to VAs coming. Oh, sorry. The dog just pulled something down. What are you doing? No. What advice would you, so we've given advice to new VAs. What are the things that you feel working with Virtual Elves has given you? What do you think working with an agency over working solo has given you?
Okay, what I like about Virtual Elves is that they support one another. I see it as we're all girls, right?
Mm.
It's a community of hardworking girl bosses.
Yeah.
Who are just there to support one another. You have to have that. You have to have that when you work for yourself. You have to have a sense of belonging, that you belong to something else bigger than yourself. Otherwise, it'll just be, well, cabin fever.
Yeah, if you don't have that community,
Right.
or that, but it's like, it's hard working for yourself. And I think even as a business owner in general, it's hard working for yourself unless you have those networks out there that you can actually go to for support, for talking to questions. So yeah, I think it's important that we provide that for sure, and also, we want to make sure that we support the VAs that we have coming in, not only with resources, but just with really nice clients and good clients. And we hope that we screen them enough that they will be good.
True. I'm really extremely lucky with the client base I have that you've given me. Really, really. It's what I'm... The top one thing, that's the top thing that I'm really thankful for. Because they're just amazing people who do amazing
choose
things.
Them as well. Yes. Okay, so we give you the opportunity to say yes or no. Do you want to take this? So and this is the thing. I don't want someone in our organization to work with a client that they don't feel a connection to the work or to what they're going to be doing. So I need to give you that opportunity, and yes, Cherry decides who she sends it to start with, so she can see who has hours available or who might be well suited to that role. So that in itself, yes, absolutely, is us choosing who we put up for that, but you get to choose. And I think, you've chosen some beautiful clients that have been perfect for you.
I know.
And I'm happy for that. Thank you, because those beautiful clients.
Proud when we got nominated for the Australian Podcast Awards.
But see, I didn't know about that. That's the sort of stuff you've got to tell me, because I would blast that every.
Ellen's podcast just started March last year, right? So we didn't expect to be nominated at all for anything.
So email me the details and say to Ellen, is it okay that Kristy shares that I've been a part of this amazing journey? I love it. So I want to share that. I want other people out there who are considering, working with VAs, to see that relationship and to see how much you've helped her grow her podcast and, to that point. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Incredible. Hooray for us.
I know. So, that sort of stuff, I think we need to celebrate those amazing wins. We need to celebrate those incredible things that you're doing behind the scenes that no one sees. Yeah?
We should.
Yeah.
True. I agree.
We need to put it everywhere. So we need to put it on the VA website. We need to put it on the Virtual Elves social media. We need to get it out there because that helps Ellen as well. That helps her with her podcast, but it showcases what's possible when you bring somebody on board. And I tell you, the minute we do that, I'm going to have probably 30 people calling saying, oh, can Jay please do our podcast too? I guarantee you.
Okay, I will.
Okay.
I will link to it again in the show notes if you have shown.
Good.
I'll do that.
So tell me, is there any other bit of advice, information, anything that I need to know that you want to share with our audience or with people that are watching this video? Anything else?
Well, like I said earlier, just for those who are aspiring to work from home as a VA, try everything once. Don't get scared of self-managed because I said earlier you have to direct yourself and self-manage. But the sense of accomplishment and the fulfillment that you get with being part of growing a business and the birthing pains and being able to sincerely help someone from the ground up is nothing that you'd get anywhere else. I think so. There.
I agree. I think so. And I see you getting very emotional when you talk about some of this stuff, which I think is beautiful because it means a lot to you.
It does.
Yeah. And you know, that is why I do what I do. Because if I couldn't witness that emotion, the connection, the pure joy that you get out of, you know, helping your clients move something from birth up to where it is, then, you know, there's nothing in it for me. It's just a transaction. And I'm not running this business just for the transaction. I'm running this business for the emotion, the connection.
I want to be proud of work of our hands.
Yeah.
Or brains, for that matter.
Yeah, that's it, right? And that's really important. You work really hard to educate yourself to get to that point. Well, why shouldn't you be able to share that and, you know, be proud of that? I think it's fantastic. Yeah, and that's a nice lesson in itself. A nice lesson in itself to actually value what you can do for somebody and be proud of that.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
And thank you for your loyalty for the last 3 years. We have really loved and will continue love having you on our team. We always say that, you know, we have a family of VAs and we truly believe that. Cherry particularly, she's been with me for 9 years, you know, pretty much since I first started the business, she has been there. And you know, that has been our philosophy from the very beginning, is that we are building a family. We are extending our family every time we bring somebody on board. And so thank you for being part of that family and sticking with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure.